Vitali had always been the kind of man who wanted to be useful. At work, he was the first to arrive and the last to leave. In relationships, he always compromised. In friendships, he was the one who would drive across town at midnight to help. But over time, he noticed a painful truth. The more he gave, the less he was valued. Colleagues leaned on him but overlooked him when promotions came. Friends disappeared as soon as their problems did. And in love his patience was mistaken for weakness. One day, after yet another disappointment, he sat in his car, engine off. In the thick silence pressing on his chest, he remembered something he had once read in Marcus Aurelius' Meditations. If they don't value you, that's not your flaw. That's their choice, but staying is yours. That evening, he made a decision not to read Stoicism, but to wield it, because a real Stoic doesn't let himself be undervalued. And by the next morning, he was on a new path, firm, quiet, unflinching. He discovered 5 brutal, but effective methods not to change others, but to change himself. And through that, change everything around him. Method 1. Your worth is not for sale. You don't have to explain why you deserve respect. Your silence is your standard. Vitali stopped explaining himself. If people didn't see his effort, that wasn't his problem. He stopped wasting energy on those who ignored his boundaries. The price of your time isn't what you say, it's what you allow. Method 2. Exit without drama. If a door won't open, don't knock. Walk away. He used to try to fix everything with talks, pleading, compromise. Now, he simply walked away. People who don't value you always notice your absence more than your presence. And when he was no longer available, some finally saw his worth. Too late. Method 3. Stoic detachment. Not every blow must be countered. Some simply aren't yours. He learned not to react to provocation. When someone disrespected him, he didn't argue. His silence became a mirror. And many, staring into it, saw their own emptiness. Method 4. Balanced expectations. Don't be disappointed in people. Just don't expect more than they can give. He stopped expecting others to act like him. It wasn't pessimism, it was realism. And when he stopped waiting for gratitude, every genuine gesture meant more. And the fake ones, easier to see. Method 5. Be a source, not a seeker. A Stoic doesn't chase respect. He lives in a way that it arrives. The most powerful move: stop waiting for recognition. Act with dignity. When Vitali began building his life on his terms, his environment shifted. Not instantly, but unavoidably. His journey had only begun, but already, he was no longer someone who could be undervalued, because he now understood. Worth isn't how others see you. It's how you see yourself and what you're willing to accept. After Vitali's initial changes, unexpected things began to happen. People who once overlooked him began to ask, "You've changed," or "Why are you so cold now?" But he wasn't cold, he had simply become clear. His silence wasn't apathy. It was choice. And that choice spoke louder than words. The power of passive stoicism. When they can't control you anymore, they call you difficult. Stoicism isn't about feeling nothing. It's about controlling how you respond. When an old friend tried to guilt Vitali for drifting away, he simply said, "I stopped fighting for a place in people's lives where I was no longer wanted." It wasn't an insult. It was a diagnosis. And each time he said something like that, he grew stronger. The paradox of silent confidence. People aren't used to you respecting yourself, so they call it arrogance. When he stopped saying yes to everything, people accused him of changing, but really he had just reclaimed himself. Stoicism teaches this core truth. You don't have to be convenient to be kind. He lived by that. His silence made people uncomfortable, especially those used to his compliance. But now, that silence was a boundary, not a plea. Boundaries that cut like blades. Your strength is this: you're no longer afraid to lose people who were never afraid to lose you. He was surprised to see that the more he calmly enforced his space, the more respect appeared around him. Not instantly, but steadily. Because real respect isn't about sweet words. It's about what they don't cross. Stoicism as a magnet. He didn't ask for attention. He didn't demand respect. But new people started appearing, those who sensed his boundaries and saw them as strength, not threat. This was a different kind of connection, not based on convenience, but on value. Stoicism cleaned the space around him, and only those who truly saw him remained. The loudest silence is a wordless goodbye. Sometimes, the loudest enough is simply walking away. There was someone he loved deeply, but for years, that person undervalued him. They were used to him always returning, always apologizing. But this time he didn't come back. No fights, no ultimatums, just one thing: silence as a decision. And that silence changed everything.